I love getting out into nature, away from all this city bustle, dirty air, and human misunderstanding. I was lucky because I have a house in a village which is located right in the middle of the forest. How I love to get out there on the weekends. Why did I love it? Now I will tell you. After a hard week at work, as usual, I decided to get out of the city. Picked up groceries, threw them in the trunk, and set off. I arrived in the evening, got tired on the road, and immediately went to bed. Fell asleep quickly and soundly. I was awakened by the sound of a car alarm. Well, I think maybe some animal ran. Looked out the window, made sure that there were no thieves, and cut down this terrible noise. I lay down again and had just begun to fall asleep when the alarm went off again. Without getting up, I pressed the button, and everything was quiet. But 5 minutes later, the alarm blared again. Okay, once. Okay, twice. But more. You start to think about the bad. A little frightened, I nevertheless got up, turned it off again, but did not lie down, but began to observe through the curtain who decided to play like that in the middle of the night. I was watching. And then I see behind the light of the lantern, someone's shadow began to appear in the bushes. And the shadow approached the car, showing its outlines. Something skinny in black clothes, about 2 meters tall, with long thin arms, slowly approached the car, hit the wheel, and moved back into the bushes. At that moment, I realized that it was time to start being afraid. Shaking with fear, I turned off the alarm and continued to watch. Something came out of the bushes, walked up to the gate, threw its arm over it, and removed the partition that kept the gate closed. Fear gripped me. Who is it? What does it need from me? Why doesn't it leave? I could not move. Goosebumps ran from my head to my toes and back, reverberating in my body with a large tremor. My mouth was dry. My thoughts began to draw scary pictures in a panic. Gritting my teeth and clenching my hands into fists, I came to my senses and, with all possible speed, ran up the stairs to the first floor. And as soon as my hand reached out to press the switch in order to find something that could somehow protect itself from the guests, I froze. It froze because it looked out the window. Pressing its hands to the glass, it looked out to see if anyone was at home or not. Then I realized all these tricks with the car were in order to lure the victim out. For what? I didn't and don't want to know. But a fact is a fact. It's here and it's looking for me. His breath started fogging up the window. And I was happy about that because I couldn't take my eyes off his face. Ash-colored, wrinkled skin. Deep, small, black, beady eyes. Instead of a nose, there were 2 holes. Breathing was so heavy and hoarse that my own lungs were cramping. There were no lips, there were only 2 rows of sharp yellow teeth. I could not be seen because I was in the back of the house. But it wasn't going to just go away. Standing at the window, it went to the door. Knock. Behind him is another one. In the gap under the door, I saw how it tries to put its fingers under the door. The handle started jerking wildly up and down. And the sounds. It didn't sound like a human voice. It was an animal growl. You know, when you start taking away a bone from a dog and it growls in anger. Something similar to these sounds, only angrier and more uterine, was emitted by this creature. I knew that if it heard me, it would not leave me alone and find a way to get into the house. So I just lay down on the stairs and waited for it to end. Tears rolled down my face involuntarily, no matter how hard I tried to hold them back. In the temples began to tap, so much so that it seemed that the soul was shaking. I passed out. When I woke up, I immediately looked at the door. The door was in place. I have never been so happy. I got up from the steps and looked out the window. It was already daylight outside the window, and the sun was quite high in the sky. Without thinking twice, I went upstairs, took the keys and, without collecting my things, went to the car. Stepping outside the threshold, I saw his footprints on the ground, proof that I'm not crazy. This was also indicated by a broken handle, scratches on the door, and gate boards that lay in the middle of the road. Jumping into the car, I drove away from this village. On the way, turning on the radio, I heard that in the area of this village in the morning they found the bodies of 2 girls. The corpses were mutilated and thrown into the swamp. Yet it found what it was looking for.